Hello and welcome to my application walkthrough. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate my final project for Harvard University's CS50 course. I call my application ChadGPT-Finance, and it has been inspired by the course's problem set 9, which is CS50 Finance. Now, just because it's inspired, it does not mean it's a copy and paste. In my application, I'm using artificial intelligence to help the user select the best assets for their portfolio. Before I show you how I do that, I want to say a huge thanks to the IEX Cloud and the AppRed team who extended the trial period for my API key to the end of 2023, so that way I could complete the project and also let you, the user, try it out for a couple of months. IAX is my data source provider for all things financial in my application. Now, let's get to it. This is the landing page of my application. And once we scroll down, we see the services that ChadGPT-Finance provides and a place where we can log in or register for an account. As a new user, we'll register for an account. And of course, we have some password requirements. And once we register, we are presented with this disclaimer. Of course, read it carefully, but basically it says that this is a demonstration site, so don't enter any personal information. Always verify the advice provided by ChadGPT-Finance with an actual professional. There is no money movement in the account, so we are not linking a bank account, and anything as far as dollar amounts presented on the website, you don't own any of that. And finally, just the thing that I mentioned earlier is that the API key for the website is only valid to December 31st, 2023, and beyond that, you need to sign up for your own. Once you accept that, you are taken directly to a live chat with ChatGPT. And this is the case where ChatGPT asks you a whole bunch of questions to assess what your risk level is. I try to make it as much as possible in a conversational manner, as opposed to being presented with a full list of questions and then having to answer all of them at once. So this kind of preserves that chat feel that ChatGPT provides. I have opted for 15 questions as a maximum, and throughout my testing, I have found that ChatGPT asks different questions. They might be slightly worded similarly, but they're always somewhat different. So let's just pick up some random answers to determine my risk level. And this is usually the slowest part of the application because of the interaction with ChatGPT. I'm going to select moderate investment knowledge. And you can always scroll back to see what the chat is and how the chat progressed. My investment goal is income generation. Investment time frame, let's say 5 to 10 years. My risk tolerance, I'm somewhat between medium to high, so I'll just pick medium. Now, some of the questions and answers may not be as descriptive as an actual investment professional would ask you. So that is one minor disadvantage of using ChatGPT, but I'm sure with some learning, it would be able to come up with full descriptive questions. How would you react to significant losses? Definitely hold or maybe buy some more because the prices are low. Do you have dependents? Debt level, I have moderate debt. Again, probably in this case, an investment professional will ask you to actually input the number, how much debt you have, mortgage, car, trips, whatever. What do you prefer? Since I am only focusing on stocks and bonds, I'm going to do stocks, and that is the first time I'm actually being asked this question. How closely do you monitor? I would say occasionally. Usually investments are you buy and hold. Guaranteeing the safety of my investments. I do I do like to keep my money, so I would probably put very important. I mean, I'm sure as any investor, if you worked hard for your money, you would like at least not to lose any or lose a small amount in the stock market. What's your investment experience? I would say moderate. I have traded with stocks and bonds before. I have done research on the company, so I can say moderate experience. And there we are. We have our risk level from ChatGPT, and it basically tells me a brief description right here. And of course, we are presented with buttons. One of them is to reassess, which is reloading the page. And the other one is to access the ChatGPT services, which is what I refer by the ChatGPT corner. So let's access the services. And as a brand new user, I'm going to see two options. One is searching individual assets. And let's just look for that. Basically, the concept of this menu is that ChatGPT will recommend assets that match a moderate risk level. So let's wait a few extra seconds. Now, in this case, you might be able to get an error because of the way ChatGPT returns the response. But even if you get an error, reselect the menu and try again. Usually the second or third time it produces a result that looks just like this. So ChatGPT recommends Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Tesla, Alibaba, etc. for that are suitable for a person with a moderate risk level. So now let's go into one of those stocks. And at the very top, we have our buy and sell menu, our trading menu. We also have a little description of what the company is. And then I have the price graph. So this shows the price graph for 1 month, and we can see the price fluctuations. We can select the 3-month price graph, which gives a broader overview of how the stock performed in the last 3 months. And I also have a 6-month overview. So we can see that in the 6 months, the price has increased. In 3 months, it has decreased. And in 1 month, it's kind of fluctuating, kind of almost remaining in the same level. So, okay, I like Apple. I want to buy shares. I click on the buy button. And this slider right here is basically how much shares I can buy with my available cash based on the bid price or ask price in this case for that particular stock. So every person starts with a $10,000 and that $10,000 should be enough to buy the shares and also cover a transaction fee. So once I'm satisfied, so let me just buy 10 shares and I confirm. Obviously, this is not a true trading because in true trading, you're going to have a 3-day waiting period for the settlement. Over here is just immediate, but of course we want to display how everything works. And now we have assets in our portfolio. So we have the cash, we have the stock for Apple, how much it is, how much we bought at what price, and based what price it is based on. If we go back to the ChatGPT services, right here, we're going to see our response, our search results saved. So let's go and actually use the other create a portfolio of assets. So creating a portfolio of assets is going to actually take several assets of different risk level and combine them so that the overall portfolio has and matches the moderate risk profile. So once the response gets back, we'll see that we have some high risk assets, some low risk assets, and some moderate level assets. So there we are. Now it is a little, I should say, inconsistent, because earlier we saw Google and Amazon being part of a moderate risk, but now they're classified as an aggressive portfolios. That is a little dicey in terms of the response from ChatGPT. Of course, we have Apple, and because we own shares of Apple, it basically tells us what the market value is based on what price. And then we have certain low conservative risk assets like Procter & Gamble, Walmart, or ExxonMobil. So if you buy everything in this proportion, then your portfolio will have a moderate risk. Now, as part of a future development, I was thinking of creating a button that when the user clicks on it, it basically purchases all the assets in the proportions suggested up to the maximum level of cash you have at the moment. So it will basically take the amounts that are here, take percentage of that based on the total amount of investment that we have here for all the assets, and then apply that to the cash you have and process a trade immediately. As we saw, there is a third menu that appeared right here, rebalance assets. It's currently a little bit early to talk about it. Basically, rebalancing of the asset means that you have a group of assets in your portfolio, and because of the market volatilities, if you have some higher risk assets, they might actually shoot up higher and produce bigger returns. And over time, that can actually increase the risk level of the assets you have. So they're going to turn more into more of an aggressive portfolio as opposed to a moderate. And this rebalancing of assets, which I'm going to do in my next user because that user has more assets in it, that rebalancing of assets will basically try to suggest assets to sell, how much to sell, and assets to buy and how much to buy. So because you only have one asset right now, it's probably not a good idea to rebalance it, because it's just going to maybe return the same asset with a transaction of hold. So let's just, experiment. So all my questions over here for ChatGPT are based on what I have currently in my portfolio. So I always tell ChatGPT, hey, this is what I have. Now suggest a strategy based on it. And just like I predicted, it gives us a hold position. So don't do anything, just hold that particular asset. Let's go through the menus again. So the ChatGPT's risk assessment is what we went on earlier. That's the conversation with the 15 questions. So you can always click on it and reassess yourself. The ChatGPT services is what we were currently here. I've also kept a search button right here. And this is actually using IEX API to provide me with a response of anything that matches the search term either in the name or in the stock symbol. And if you hold the asset, of course, it gives you the market value based on the actual price right here. So let's search net. That will give us a little bit more information. So Cloudflare, Netflix, and some other stocks that contain net in it. I am filtering the results based on common stock and traded on exchanges in the United States. I didn't want to muddy the waters with foreign exchanges, foreign currency, because then the application becomes a little bit more complicated and I would like to graduate. So the next menu is the settings. So in the settings menu, as I mentioned, if you signed up for your own IEX API key, you can enter it here and save it. And then we have other maintenance, such as password updates and actually deleting your account. So let's go now for the mobile version of the application. To show you the responsiveness of my application, I have hooked up my phone to my computer, and now we can see everything that is on my phone screen. So let me show you how the mobile version looks like. And this is the mobile version of the application. What we see right here in this little box is basically my browser. And if we scroll down, I'm going to log in with an existing username. I am going to black out the password because you can definitely see it as I type in. It's not very secure. We do know that this is a test server, so no personal information and just fake usernames and passwords. This is the disclaimer that we saw earlier. You have to click on I accept every time you log in. And once you agree, yes, we see that this user has a lot more assets in their portfolio. If we click on the cash, we do see the regular menu, and let's just, do a deposit of $1,000. There we are. The one thing with this slider button, especially on the mobile devices, is the fine-tuning the adjustment so that you get to the actual dollar amount. So I'm not going to spend time fiddling around with it. So I'm just going to deposit this $119. But that could be a good way for a future development. Also for a future development, I was thinking of a more in-depth cash reporting. So all the transactions that we did right now, the deposits, I wanted to be displayed as part of the transactions, as well as anytime you purchase an asset that will decrease the cash value, anything that increases the cash value, like the sale of stock, all that I wanted to be displayed here, but that could be a future development. Now let's go back to the index or the home, and let's go to Netflix, for example. We see our trading menu at the top. We see the company information. We see the price graph. So if we click on 1 month, we get that. We click on 3 months, and then we click on the 6 month. So we can see that price has steadily increased over the past 6 months. And this is the transaction history. So on what day, how much did we buy? And this is what I was referring to earlier in the cash menu about having a more in-depth as to what affects the cash, more in-depth transactional analysis as to what affects the cash. So going back to the main menu and reloading the page actually. There we have the same menus right here. We can go to the ChadGPT services. Although it's not shown on the monitor right now, I have the 3 menu options open right here. I'm going to select rebalance assets. So we're going to see how ChadGPT takes a person that already has several assets in their portfolio and tries to rebalance them. Now, the rebalancing of the assets has been the most difficult prompt to do with ChatGPT. I have asked for transaction type, buy, sell, or hold, also the amounts. And in this case, we see that it is showing actually quite well. So because Netflix is somewhat of a higher risk asset, sell that much of it. Although Amazon also being displayed as a high-risk asset. It tells me to buy Amazon and to buy more Tesla, but to hold a low-risk asset as AT&T. So yes, it has been the most difficult prompt to make. So the results are not always 100% accurate. As we can see, even though ChadGPT shows 3 assets at the high risk level, it tells me to buy a little bit more of them, but I guess it thinks that AT&T is low enough risk stock that all my assets are basically fitting a person with a moderate risk profile. Another thing for future development is probably make those menus part of a floating box somewhere here on the application to give it more like an app feel and an app navigation as opposed to just being from the main menu. And that brings an end to the demonstration.
If you like this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell to get notified of my future coding and project demonstration videos. I have linked the live website in the description of the video, and you will also see a small QR code appearing on the screen where you can just scan it with your phone. Thank you for watching, and this was CS50.